Can you feel it? It's time. It's time for every one of us. If we get knocked down, we won't just get up. It's time we all rise up. Rise up. When stars step up. When a dome stands up. When a city lights up. We all rise up together. Touchdown! When we come on the field, we rise up. Rise up. From kickoff to the last play, we rise up. This is our time, Atlanta. We've been knocking on the door. Now it's time to blow it up. Tell me, what do Falcons do? Rise up. What do Falcons do? Falcons rise up. That's what I'm talking about.
There is a flag down on the play, but it's going to be
What's going on, everybody? Falcons comeback fell short, as you see in the title. It was a rough start to the game. The Falcons were down 13 to, was it 16? It was 14-3 at the half. Desmond Ridder had a concussion. I don't believe that concussion thing at all. And Taylor Heinicke came in and the offense got going. But it was too late because first thing first, let me not be that fan, and B, we lost to a rookie quarterback. Will Levis balled on us. Plain and simple. This was the first game that the Falcons defense have looked bad in probably a year. So, honestly speaking, he had a great game. DeAndre Hopkins turned the clock back on us. He had a big game. He had both the first two touchdowns of the game. Then the last two were just busted coverage on both plays. But all in all, the Falcons still had an opportunity to win this ball game. And, of course, Van Jefferson dropped a fourth down conversion. He was trying to worry about getting the first. But Falcons fall to 4-4, still tied for first place in the division. The Saints won today, so we come to Atlanta to play the Minnesota Vikings this week. But that was an irritating loss because you have to win those games like that. When you have an opportunity to go on the road, this team was trying to figure out their quarterback situation. As you all seen, the first drive of the game, they brought in Malik Willis, and he fumbled on the first play of the game. You heard himself, and the Falcons turned that into a field goal. And after that, their offense got to clicking with Will Levis, and Derrick Henry had 100 yards rushing. We had a couple of injuries today. Grady Jarrett, of course, y'all know, went out early in the game. I don't even remember when he went out. But the rushing attack suffered today because you didn't have Grady Jarrett out there in that middle. Of course, the secondary had probably their worst game of the season. DeAndre Hopkins, like I said, had a day. Then, of course, you had two big plays by no, one of them was by Westbrook. I cannot remember the other receiver name, but either way, you had bad moments on defense today. However, this game was winnable. But the Falcons, let's be real. Today should have said that we have a QB1. Taylor Heinicke should be the Falcon starter for the rest of the season. You do not pay the man this offseason for him to sit on the bench. You saw what you have with Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder had another fumble today that turned into a Tennessee touchdown. If you look back at that, if you don't have those turnovers, this is a different ball game. You lost 28-23. So at this rate, even though he cleared concussion protocol, so they say, I don't think he had a concussion at all. I think they was trying to find a nice way to tell me your bench. You do see that your offense went and scored 20 points with Taylor Heinicke running the show. He needs to be your starting quarterback next week at home against the Minnesota Vikings. And we don't need to see no more of Desmond Ridder. He's not ready. And I'm not even going to use the fact of lack of experience. Will Levis started today, and Will Levis had a great day at the office. I think he threw 3 touchdowns. So I'm not using the rookie excuse. Will Levis had a good day today. Desmond Ridder played bad once again, but last week, as we mentioned, the Falcons roster was so talented enough, we were able to eke out a victory despite the turnovers. This week, that didn't happen. You can't keep going through that. And I think Arthur Smith finally woke up at halftime and said, I can't do this anymore. So it is what it is. Taylor Heinicke should be your starting quarterback going forward. At this rate, the Desmond Ridder experience should be over. Nice way for me to put it. Unless Taylor Heinicke, God willing, I do not want to speak this into existence. Unless he has an injury, we should never see another snap from Desmond Ridder as a starting quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons at all. You got to go ahead and rock it out with Taylor Heineke for the rest of the season, and potentially look at you a quarterback this offseason or in the draft. Either way. But let me hit these comments real quick. Michael Thomas, well on, bro. He said new QB1. Yes, sir. I agree 100%. If Arthur Smith walks away from this game and says, oh, Ritter's going to start next week, I'm going to have a problem with him. Because you easily are going to be saying to us, he only played because he, quote unquote, had a concussion. No. Your offense don't get clicking like that in the second half, and you go back to your other quarterback who couldn't get but 3 points. We scored 23 points. The Falcons haven't hit 22 points in a game since week 2, I think. Or was it week 3? Yeah, it was early in the season. I think we scored 25 against the Packers. We didn't score. I'm trying to think. We scored 16 last week. We scored 19 against Houston. Yeah, we haven't scored 20 points since week 2. So the fact that your offense was able to put up 20 points today, considering the circumstances, you got to rock out with this guy going forward. I'm sorry. You have to. There's not even a question about this thing at this point. Another thing that I really have to address for this team, especially on offense, the tackle situation is going to be a number one need this offseason. Because Caleb McGarry should not have been paid. He is horrible. Caleb McGarry gives up a sack at least once a game. You have to go away from that guy. You cannot keep dealing with this guy as your starting right tackle. Jake Matthews, yes, he's been the Iron Man. He hasn't missed a game. He's been in the Falcon uniform for 9 years. His time is up too. He's your highest paid player on the Falcon roster. You have to at one point cut bait. I know it's not going to happen in season because we are in first place and we're in the thick of things in the NFC South. But those two guys cannot be your long-term guys because part of the reason the offense stalls out is because you have bad tackle play. And Drew Dahlman is not a good center. There was that snap on the last drive. There was a low snap that ended up completely taking that play, I think it was second down. He had a low snap and they got a couple of yards out of it. You should not be losing games on offense because your center cannot snap the ball. Those are simple things that an NFL center should be able to do. But throughout the game, it even happened when Ritter was in the game. Drew Dahlman's been like this all season long. That's an issue too. But all in all, this was a game that you should have won. You put yourself in a hole. You could not get out of it. You fought back as hard as you possibly could. But, I mean, it is what it is. You just fell short. And it's unfortunate because Taylor Heineke threw an excellent pass on 4th down to get a first down conversion. And Vance Jefferson, for the second time in 3 weeks since we have traded for him with that 7th-round pick, dropped another crucial reception that this time he could have got a reception and probably some yardage out of it. He was so concerned about, I'm going to catch the ball and I'm going to try to make a move. Catch the ball first. Catch the ball first. You only got in the game, truly, let's be honest about this thing, you were only in the game at this point because Drake London got dinged up in the 3rd quarter. So you have to take advantage of the opportunities you get. And he's going to be sick about that one for a while. But like I said, that's the second time in this season that we've had a bad drop from Van Jefferson. I know a lot of fans said the one in the Commanders game was on Desmond Ridder. I don't feel that was on Desmond Ridder. That was a good throw action for once by him. That was on Van Jefferson once again. So it shouldn't have been in that position, and hopefully you just rebound from that. Let me go to the next comment. Michael Thomas said, no excuses. You let a rookie carve us up. Team needs to get healthy. Injuries piled up, but that's sports, man. Yes, sir. And that's the other thing about this Falcon unit right now. You were without one of your 2 key catalysts up front on that defensive line at Grady Jarrett. And it showed. There were runs that were being broken today, and this is nothing against Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry. So I'm not going to sit here and be that guy to say, oh, it's because we should have shut down Derrick Henry. No, this is one of the better running backs in football. So he crossed 100 late in the 4th quarter. You did as good of a job as you can to keep him contained. But at the end of the day, this is where the depth of the team comes into play. You losing Grady Jarrett, that's a big piece of your team, and hopefully he's back next week. So Drake London got hurt. Like I said, this is where the depth of the team comes in. Scotty Miller got a big reception earlier late in the game. Got a touch. Actually, that was a dot from Taylor Heineke for a touchdown. So you've seen your receivers get involved a little bit more, but again, this is where the depth of the Falcons will come into play. So once again, it's a goofy loss, and you had an opportunity to kind of give yourself a little distance in the division. So this is why it's such a bad loss at this moment. It's going to feel what's going on, bro. Hey man, hey, I know you love that intro. He said, at least UJ won. Listen, I'm not concerned about UJ. UJ gonna do what they're gonna do. Myron said, we definitely need a new center. I felt that way going this. Yes, I felt that way coming into this offseason as well. The Falcons just totally ignored that need. And that's a need that you cannot ignore because you essentially are having drives stalled because there's bad snaps. That takes your quarterback out of the play before the play gets started. And that's a fault of there's a fault on your head. Coach's fault on your front office. Drew Dahlman is not a starting NFL center, but he has had moments like this throughout the season, not just this week, last week in the Tampa game, that bad exchange and it turned into that fumble for the Buccaneers. So this is not the only issue that you're not just having this issue this week. This has been an issue that should have been addressed a long time ago. The Falcons just have not done it. And at this point, this is not your guy for the future. You got to get one this offseason. Let's see. He also said, I hope Ritter would get his stuff together so we have a decent quarterback and not worry about that going forward. Now we got to spend on a high draft pick on the position instead of finally spending a high pick on a defensive line. That is the unfortunate thing about this situation for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to come back up there. Let's be honest. We knew we were coming in with literally no expectations for Desmond Ritter. We knew we had put a good team together. He had an opportunity to show us, hey, I'm your guy. I'm your QB1. Yes, our record is 4-4. However, this Falcon offense have stalled week after week after week because of bad QB play, at times inconsistent coaching. I will say this. Arthur Smith have some questionable calls here and there, but the last 2 weeks, I can truly say that there's been better play calling on his end. This has just been simply the defensive line of Tennessee and Tampa last week did what they wanted to do against this defense, this offensive line. And Ritter can't deal with the blitz. He sat there in the pocket a lot of times, and Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry, those guys had a field day to give him problems. However, Taylor Heineke was able to get out that pocket and go make a play here, make a play there. And that's what you need. At this point, Arthur Smith have to look at the situation for what it is. You need a quarterback that's going to get that ball out in a timely fashion, whether it's 2 or 3 seconds. Will Levis was not letting himself get into a position today where the Falcons defensive line, who has been solid the last couple weeks, can have their way against him. This was his first start. He's trying to win his job. But at the end of the day, this is a testament to some of the depth that we don't have, especially on that offensive line. But once again, with all that being said, Taylor Heineke better be the starting quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons starting November the 5th at home against the Minnesota Vikings until the season is over. We need to dead the Desmond Ritter situation once and for all tonight. That should have been the end of it. Healthy or not, that should have been the end of it. Because to see your offense score 20 second half points speak volumes about the potential of the offense. However, you are not going to reach your potential because the Falcons are once again in these situations. Now, today was probably the worst game of the year for the defense. I will say that. They were getting beat by simple moves. Now, I will say this. The first DeAndre Hopkins touchdown, the officials definitely got away with one. He got away with one because he literally was tugging A.J. Terrell's neck on that play. Although I feel that AJ Terrell should still make you got to stay with that play. I don't care if you are interfered with. I'd rather you break that play up and let that touchdown happen. But he was interfered with big time. That turned into a touchdown. Like I said, the fumble in his first half by Desmond Ridder, that turned into a touchdown. So you essentially gave 14 points there. But after that, Will Levis hit some really good throws in 2 solid possessions, especially when the Falcons were driving. He definitely made the plays when the Falcons started driving and making the game. So I got to give him that credit. The Titans found their QB1. Must be nice. They found their QB1. I think Will Levis is going to be really solid. He looked like the guy who was in the first round prospect up until the draft. That looked like the guy that was supposed to go in the first round straight up. That's what it looked like. Because Will Levis, as you all know, up until about maybe 2 weeks before the draft, he was getting first round grades. And then the quarterbacks just started slipping. But Will Levis is already looking like he could be the second best quarterback in this class right here. And I know it's soon, but I'm just going to be honest. He was definitely clicking with DeAndre Hopkins. That offense looked better with him running the show. And go to the comments. My boy Samurai, what's going on, man? He said, hey, man, salute to y'all. Good game. I'm not going to take anything away from y'all. Y'all played a good game today. It was a tough loss for us, but y'all found a quarterback today. Y'all definitely did. You definitely found your quarterback today in Will Levis. I can be the first one to say it. I even said it on my actual page on Facebook. I said that they found their quarterback today. And Mike Vrabel needs to be fired if anybody but Will Levis starts, unless it's an injury. Straight up. Will Levis is definitely their solution going forward. But let me go to the stat line real quick and talk about some of the statistics in this game for the Falcons and the Titans. Let me try to get this thing a little bit full. Okay, this is the box. That's the play-by-play. Let me go to the box score. Now, in the short period of time, let me try to zoom this up because I don't know if it's kind of far out. I just want to zoom in a little bit. By the way, let me give my hats off once again to Will Levis. Will Levis was 19 of 29 for 238 and 4 touchdowns. Great stat line for your first start. Nothing but respect to that kid. That dude is big time. But as y'all see, Desmond Ridder was 8 of 12 for 71 yards. He got sacked 5 times in the first half. 5 times. That is an awful showing from your offensive line. That's terrible. Yes, he had a bad fumble in that first half, but your quarterback should not get sacked 5 times in the first half of a football game. That is unacceptable. But second half, Taylor Heineke, 12 of 21, $175, a touchdown, no picks, and only got sacked 1 time. That's a great stat line to have come in from the third quarter on forward. Great stat line for Taylor Heineke, and I would be shocked if he's not the starter going forward. Let me go down to these rushing totals for both teams. Derrick Henry, 22 for $101. You take that if you're the Falcons. He had to grind 22 carries out to get 100 yards. You take that if you're a defense all day, every Sunday. Both of the teams were nearly identical as far as rushing. Bijan Robinson had 11 for 62. He had his first rushing touchdown Tuesday. Shout out to Bijan Robinson. Tyler Algier had 8 for 31. Desmond Ridder had a big run, 23-yard run. That's how he finished with 26 yards. Taylor Heineke got out the pocket as well and got a nice run. Cordero Patterson had 2 for 7 himself. As you see, Tyjae Spears, he had a big 23-yard run late in the game that actually was a part of their put-away drive. So good day at the office for both rushing attacks, actually. It was definitely a good day on each side. As far as you see, DeAndre Hopkins, there's nothing. This thing is coming up. Excuse me, y'all. There is nothing more to say about DeAndre Hopkins today. DeAndre Hopkins, if you have him in fantasy football, you had an excellent day today. He was 4 for $128 with 3 touchdowns. Great day at the office for DeAndre Hopkins. Salute to the dude. Outside of that, then Westbrook played for a touchdown. He called a touchdown, as you see right there. Hopkins caught 3 for them. Kyle Phillips had a couple of receptions. Their tight end had a big third down reception on one of the drives that kind of extended that drive for the Tennessee Titans. There, here he had 4 for 21. On the Falcons side of things, Cordero Hodge led the team in receivers with 3 for 75. Keep on going. Oh my God. Excuse me, y'all. But Drake London had 5 for 55, picks with 3 for 35. So no really dominant day on the Falcon side as far as receiving, but they spread the ball around to everyone. Scotty Miller caught his first touchdown as a Falcon today. So again, just kind of a balance on both sides. Let me scroll down. As you saw, the Desmond Ridder fumble and Malik Willis both had a fumble. So both teams were even with the fumbles. Defensively, Richie Grant had 9 tackles. Caden Ellis and Nate Landman, once again, another solid showing from those two with 8 tackles each. I don't know where Troy Anderson's going to fit in when he finally comes back. Jesse Bates had 7 tackles. Jeff Okudah had 5. Ebiketie got a sack today. Bud Dupree actually has been playing pretty good for the Falcons the last couple of weeks, I must admit. For the Titans, Azeez Al-Shaair, he had a good day today. He had 11 total tackles and a QB hit. Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry both had 2 sacks each. Both balled out today. Nico Autry had a good day today as well. So really, really good day at the office for the Tennessee Titans defense. Neither team threw a pick. The kick returns are kind of even. Punt returns kind of even. Kick and Youngo was 3 for 3. Bradley Pena had 6 punts. They had 8 punts for their punter. So kind of even day at the office on both sides. But again, that's a tough loss for the Falcons. These are the games you need to win, trying to pull away in this division. The good thing is you are 2-0 in the division. You're coming home to play the Minnesota Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins got injured earlier today, and I hate that for that team because they were starting to click. Jordan Addison is big time for them. You know, TJ Hawkinson, they got some weapons in the pass attack. So the Falcons secondary is going to be up for a task again this week coming up at home, but you are coming back home. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals before the bye week. So the Falcons really need to run off these next 2 games because the Saints is right there on your tail. Tampa's only a game out. And once again, you got to get your wins. These are games that you cannot slip up on. But again, today they just got too far behind. They put themselves behind the 8 ball too early, tried to recover it, and it just didn't work. So kudos to the Tennessee Titans for the dub today. I have nothing negative to say about that. KD, what's going on, bro? He said that, oh my God, that's so heartbreaking because Kirk has been outstanding for the Vikings. They said that Kirk Cousins possibly towards Achilles. I hate to hear that news. That's a big loss for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not sure who's their backup quarterback either. So we're probably going to be facing the backup quarterback next week at home when the Vikings come to town. So I hate to hear that news right there. But again, tough loss for the Falcons. Tough loss. But I think you had some silver linings. You found out that Taylor Heineke is your QB1, needs to be your QB1 going forward. And I feel that you just need to get healthy at this point because I think that they found something. I think they found something today in Tennessee through that L that they took today. But Falcons fall to 4-4. Once again, we're going to be back at home on next Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings. Y'all come out and show support to these Falcons. They really need to win these next 2 games. You need to try to get to 6-4 before the bye. If you want to win this division, you need to get to 6-4 straight up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But this has been a quick recap of the Falcons-Titan game. This has been an episode of All In with Nate. Until next time, you guys enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy the rest of the day for football. So, once again, come out to the Benz next week. Need the crowd jumping like it's been jumping all season long. But until next time, Tennessee won 28-23. Falcons fall to 4-4. Just got to rebound next week, Falcons. Until next time, rise up.
Can you feel it?